Hello there. So the British summer is fast approaching, which you can probably tell by the fact it's absolutely pissing down with rain outside. But on the off chance that we might get a few sunny days this year, I need a solution for some portable kegging. So since I've had the Keezer set up, I haven't really been bottling any of my beers or using any of the mini kegs that you might have seen in previous videos. So it's a bit harder to get beer portable basically once I've got it into those kegs. I do have the carbonation cap that I can use to bottle stuff up, but it's a bit laborious bottling up beers every time you want to take some out with you. So what I've done is I've bought myself one of these, which is a 10 litre Cornelius keg. I got this from China, so it was on AliExpress, I think. It was in one of their sales, so I picked that up for about 46 quid, which I thought was really good. Only took a couple of weeks to arrive as well. And I've also got this, which is the universal regulator from the Maltmiller. And as you can see, I've already got a little mini CO2 cartridge screwed into the bottom of that. So this video, I'm just going to show you how I'm going to use these things to set up a kind of portable kegging rig and getting beer into it, and do a little review on the regulator as well. So yeah, let's get on with that and see how it works out. Okay, so the Cornelius keg is basically the same as any other corny keg, except it's smaller, so there's not really much to say about that. But I was quite impressed with the quality of it. Was a bit dubious about ordering stuff from China, but this was the only way that I could get one this size for a cheaper price than what I would have to pay for a 19 litre one basically. So it does seem like all of the smaller kegging options are quite expensive, especially when you're looking at the kind of UK suppliers sites, which if you're a cheapskate like me is a little bit difficult to get around when you're getting actually half the keg effectively for nearly twice the price, but never mind. But yeah, it arrived relatively quickly, got it for a really good price, so I'm pretty happy with that. And it was held its pressure all through transit as well, so it's definitely sealed well. The regulator, this is the universal CO2 reg from the Maltmiller website, is nice and solid, so it feels like it's got quite good build quality on it. Fairly decent weight to it as well, so this main body part on here is a good solid piece of metal. Nice engraved Maltmiller logo on there as well. At the moment it's got the mini CO2 cartridges screwed into it. One of the good things about this regulator is you can get various different adapters for it, so that you can run it off of these, or you can use soda stream bottles, which is what I'm gonna do once I've actually bought one. So this is just a short-term solution because they're quite expensive, and they're not really the most cost-effective option using these smaller ones. Also, there's probably not really enough gas in there to fully dispense a whole 10 litre keg either, so I'd probably need a couple of those for each keg that I go through. So long term I'll definitely be going with the soda stream option, but you can use an adapter to use these soda stream bottles or onto a normal CO2 bottle. So it's quite flexible, which I guess is why they've called it the universal regulator. You can screw it straight onto a disconnect, so if you get one of the disconnects with a screw thread on the output, then you can screw it straight into the side there. As I am eventually going to be using it with a soda stream bottle, I thought I'd put it on a short length of tube, so that when I do have it with the keg, the soda stream bottle's not going to be sticking out at an angle, and I can then strap the CO2 bottle to the side of the keg itself. So just a push fit connection, so it does come with a John Guest fitting there for the outlet as well. And yeah, once you've got your CO2 screwed in, that's pretty much it, ready to go. Now, I do like this so far, but there are a couple of little things that are not ideal in my opinion. So the control knob on the top here is fairly kind of free spinning, so there's not much resistance at all to turning this, which does mean that it's going to be quite easy to kind of knock it and either accidentally turn the pressure up or down on there, which is obviously not ideal. Also, you know, something that if people don't know how to use it, they might have some issues there. And it would be nice to have a little bit more resistance on this controller, so it's not going to accidentally get turned on and off. So for that reason, yeah, when I'm using it, I'm only really going to attach this onto the keg when I'm ready to start dispensing from it. Otherwise you may end up, yeah, losing quite a bit of gas or over pressurizing the cylinder as well, potentially, if it gets turned up too high. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Let's connect it up and try and get some beer into it as well. So this can just go straight onto the keg as per normal, and as I mentioned, this will probably work better once I've actually got a soda stream bottle, but I am going to strap on the gas cylinder and regulator to the keg so it's not flapping around in the breeze like it is at the moment. So I've just got a couple of these Velcro straps here which are flexible, and if we just put a good bit of tension on there, obviously this will work a lot better with a soda stream bottle because there'll be more of it to kind of strap onto here. So yeah, that's just going to hold that in place a little bit better, stop it getting knocked about. Now we need to transfer some beer into it. Okay, so I have sanitized the mini keg and I have pressurized it to the same pressure as the keg that I want to transfer some beer from. I've got a jumper line here, which is just two product out disconnects at the end of a length of 3/8 tube, and in theory, if I connect that to that and then release the pressure, it should do a transfer under pressure from one keg to the other. Now, how well that will work, I guess, kind of depends on how gently I can release the pressure off of here, but it should be okay, and it shouldn't affect the beer in any way, apart from potentially it frothing up a bit too much. So yeah, that's the way I'm going to be using this. I'm not really going to be putting beers straight into this little mini keg from the fermenter. It's more so that I can transfer stuff that's already there. That way, when I am using it for portable stuff, I don't have to worry about the sediment getting shaken up and it being all cloudy once I get to wherever it's going. So in theory, if the kegs here have obviously settled out and it's coming clear off of them, the beer going into the mini keg should be nice and bright, whether it gets shaken around in the back of the car or wherever it's going on its way to the party or barbecue or whatever it is that it's going to. So let's give that a go and see how it works out. So we'll just link this on to not the inlet, the outlet. Okay, so we seem to be getting a little bit of transfer happening already. So I think there was a slight difference in pressure between the two. That's now equalised out. And if we then let off a little bit more pressure, it should start to fill the keg up. Now, you might be wondering how I'm going to know when there's the right amount in there. I've weighed the keg beforehand and it's about 2.5 kilos. So I'm basically going to use a luggage scale and then see how heavy it is, and then I can work out how close it is to being full. So at the moment I've only got about 3 litres in there so far, so we definitely need to go a little bit more. I won't fill it right the way to the brim, but I'll probably go for about 7 or 8 litres for this one. And just then my main gas cylinder runs out. Shit. Okay, well, that's a different issue to address, but yeah, it was getting close to the end, but I didn't realise there was that little left in it, unfortunately. Let's see how much we've managed to get in there. Okay, so we're at about 10.5 kilos. So we have got about 8 litres in there, which is about what I was after. Okay, so there we have it with some beer in there. The regulator is attached and set to pressure. Let's get a party tap on there, and then we should be able to get some beer out of it. So it looks like it's pouring pretty well to me. This is just the normal party tap setup with a few foot of the 3/16 line on there to restrict the flow, and as you can see, it's worked quite well with that. Yeah, so that dispenses pretty nicely. I'm happy with that. Yeah, as I said before, there's a couple of little things with that regulator that could maybe be a little bit better for me, but otherwise seems like a really good solution for this sort of application. Once I've got the SodaStream bottle on there, that will yeah, obviously last a lot longer than the smaller cartridges as well, make it a bit more practical. I think the only other thing that I might need to think about is some sort of insulation for the keg, or maybe even getting a cooler or something to sit it inside so that it can hold temperature or a bit better as well. But depending on how quickly the beer's going to get drunk, that amount in there will probably stay cool for quite a while. Obviously depends on how far or how long you're going to be travelling with it, but that'll do. So I need to go and get another gas cylinder, because otherwise I won't be able to get any other beers out my keezer. So I'll go and do that after I've drunk this beer. Cheers.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness, or Duder, or, you know, El Duderino.